Hello, Gina. I ran a marathon yesterday, and here comes the moon. Ha ha, we're right on time. Hey, stop, come back. Ho, ho. Come back. Thank you. Stand by, Seestar. Moon track. Do it now. Come on. This is the moon, Gina, not the sun. And my Seestar is just not happy. I mean, neither of them is happy. Come on. It has no idea where we are. Okay, latitude, north, 42.9 should be close enough. No? Okay, go with 43 then. I don't care. And the other one doesn't want to connect anymore. 76 west. Okay, let's adjust exporter. Hey! Alright, stay here for a second while I put Seestar out. Okay, stand by. Okay, let's see if Seestar is gonna find the moon. We know it's not a star, but we will see. Solar system. Moon. Go to. It just blew past the moon as fast as it could. So we're gonna go back as slow as we can. Whoopsie. There we go. I don't have the patience to let it find it on its own. We have it, it's here, it is centered. We just focus now. Focus a lot. Nice. Okay. Yeah, they refer to the blood moon in those places where it was a total eclipse. What they see was a very, very red moon at that point, and that's all they saw. Oops, my microphone was in a different room, so I brought it closer. So the plan for tonight is not to stay up too late, so we can start recovering from the marathon, so we can run another one in 2 weeks. Yeah, the dwarf is gonna move off the moon shortly and try to image some of the clusters in the north away from the moon. I have in mind C13, C14, quite a few Caldwell objects out of the way. We'll see how many we can get among them. Will it let us focus? Yeah, I mean, this is where we say glass has its privilege. Seestar has twice as much glass as dwarf, and that's where you're seeing the difference. The comments are all yours, you're welcome. I'm waiting for Jeannie, we have to talk. Gina took some videos of the Tesla diner and we're trying to decide on a strategy to post them. Yeah, that's what we said, Tesla diner. I was kidding Jeannie, saying the Tesla diner is in Hollywood. Would she be kind enough to get us some videos so we see what it is? And she came back yesterday with something like 17 videos. A whole sequence from the outside, from parking all the way in, and it is definitely worthy of a of a serious posting, one at a time. Looks like we may be able to look closely at, yep, there it is. This is the Ina crater, and possibly this is where the blue lake is. We will certainly not see the blue lake on Seestar, but it is worth stacking some and seeing what we get. This is no longer a full moon, it's only a 96% moon. You can see some of the darkness starting to sneak in from the top right. Yes, some are shorter than others. And as soon as I have a chance to process them tomorrow, I will start posting them. So we can start referring to Jeannie as our West Coast reporter. What's that walking on the moon? Uh-oh. Come on. So yesterday during the marathon we demonstrated that drugs indeed work. Performance-enhancing drugs as in caffeine. I had carried with me a little gel pack of Goo Espresso Love. It has, I think, something like 2 cups of espresso in it in terms of caffeine. And when I got to 20 miles and the going got rough, I pulled it out of my pocket, drank the goo, and had a second wind and ran all the way to the end, the last 4.5 miles. Actually, my fastest mile in the entire race was mile 24. Let's go back to full moon. This is a beautiful picture. The one on the left. Uh-oh. Well, our 2 dogs spend more time with stitches on than without injuries. Alright, it's gonna be sooner rather than later hopping onto other targets for dwarf. Hello, Dallas. The one on the left is our moon. The one on the right is their moon. Actually, this is incredible detail tonight. Let me show you what I mean. Don't tell me we're being disconnected again. Come on. All right, there we go. This is the detail that I'm talking about. This is beautiful, to say the least. Back to full. Hello, Jeannie. Hi, Dean. Hi, Isobeg. Yeah, the detail is just incredible. I don't know if this is going to give us much more, but let me see. Nope. Okay. Just trying to go full screen with it. It don't want to. Both are as focused as they will get on their own. Seestar has a 2 megapixel sensor camera. Dwarf has an 8 megapixel camera. However, Seestar has a 2-inch lens, which means it has twice as much glass as the Dwarf. And glass has its privilege, and a lot of it here. Jeannie, thank you for the videos. I will start processing tomorrow. I spent most of today in recovery mode, as in drink, eat, sleep, and repeat. They do clarify that by saying drink like there is no tomorrow, they mean water, not wine. Or drink like it's nobody's business. All right, let's see if why? Okay, there it is. Trying to see what happens with the moon if I make it full screen. This is not bad at all, detail-wise. So since you're here, let me show you something fun. That's what I did yesterday. Good night, Gina. All right, let's see what is out there for us. $20.27.55, so we are at 20.28. Yep. I looked at them quickly, they look nice. And I think, let me check one more time. Yep, you gave them all titles, so I will stick to using your titles with possibly minor edit. And we will not tell people from the beginning how many there are. This way we'll keep them coming back. And I will rely on AI to suggest detailed brief descriptions and titles. If you want to provide any description and titles, please do. So we're going to stay on the moon, Seestar, and we're going to get DWARF doing what DWARF does much better than the moon, and that is large deep sky objects with the colorful stuff. Yeah. So we're going to, come on, Bella. We're going to start with the Heart Nebula. Photo, we go to Astro. And let's see if it'll go to the Heart Nebula on its own. No internet. Very funny. We are connected directly to the moon. We are connected. This is incredible. The gods of telescopes and marathons are conspiring against me to force me to go to bed early. We're gonna hang in there for a moment and see what's up. Settings. Connection. Activate Wi-Fi at startup. Okay, we may have fixed the non-existent problem. Yesterday morning I looked up to the sky at the start line, and there was the moon, and not too far we had Venus and Jupiter. And then the clouds moved in, and during the race we got rain, hail, wind. I'm not amused. Every time they patch something, anything, everything that was working stops working. Hello, Otto. Jeannie, that would be wonderful if you have the time to do that. They won't have to be more than a couple sentences. We're going to try to put Dwarf 3 in station mode. The moon indeed looks good. That is our Seestar. We're trying to convince DWARF to get back to doing its business. DWARF's reacting grumpy. Now it says it's downloading the Atlas database, which it had earlier tonight, but I'm not gonna argue. Dean, I'm not using any filter. This is the raw image directly of Seestar. Okay, there's our database. Let's see if it's going to find IC 1805. (1805), the Heart Nebula is a good target for Dwarf 3. The dual band filter does justice to the HA emissions in it, and the wide angle field of view does justice to the size of the heart, so we may be able to see the heart tonight. With that in mind, we're going to go with the dual band filter, and I'm going to use our standard presets of 60, 15, and let's do it. And we have taken darks, so we're good here. Let's see how soon we will see the semblance of a heart. Uh-oh, don't do that. Please don't. Dwarf is not tracking. This is new. I missed the first 20 minutes of my marathon also. Well, since we have time, I'll give you some gory details. At the beginning, before we started, I met up with quite a few friends. Had not done one in 2 years, so I missed the camaraderie, especially among the two clubs to which I belong, the Marathon Maniacs and the 50 States Marathon Club. And there were a dozen or so of us there. I knew many, but there were some who came all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and California, and Georgia, all the way to upstate New York to run what turned out to be a beautiful marathon. So at the start it was chit-chatting. The second thing we observed is that there were lots of Canadians who crossed the border. So at the start they sang the Canadian national anthem, and then we sang the Star-Spangled Banner. We started on time and spent the first 2 miles just fooling around, running fast, running slow, chatting with people. By mile 2, settled down to the death march that was supposed to be, because my doctor had not cleared me to run it. So I did not want to do any heroics. And my goal was to walk and run, actually more like run 1 minute, walk 4 minutes, try to maintain a 14-minute pace, reduce the pounding on the brain. If I had any, I would not be running it, but that's another story. The plan was to do the first half. It's out and back, and it's uphill out and then downhill back. The plan was to do it in about 3 hours. I got to the turnaround cone in 3 hours, 0 minute, 0 second. Spot on. Way back was good until mile 20, hit the wall, and the wheels fell off the cart, as we say. I staggered for about 2 miles, debating and deliberating when to drop out. There was a volunteer with a bicycle. I asked him how much would he want to rent me the bike. He said $500. And he said it goes up by $50 every mile I wait. And then I took out my last little packet of gel with the double espresso in it, and in an unbelievable way, doping did the job. As soon as I ate that thing, it was a second wind, and ran it all the way to the end. I was expecting to finish last, so I can tell my children I finished first, and then quote the Bible to them, and the last shall be first. But it was hard fought for last place. I lost by about an hour. 10 people finished after me, so no complaining there. Done. And now we start the process of recovery, and I'm not planning to do any marathon for another 2 weeks, so should be good. I see a heart. What new scope do you have, Otto? And where is it getting smoky? We don't have smoke here. Ooh, it's okay on the west. California, you have fires, right? Fresno, just east of Fresno, there are some major fires. Alaska and Canada are burning. We're spared on the East Coast, at least for now. Ah, yes. By the way, I learned something new about the 585MC. Listen carefully for a moment. This camera is designed to provide optimum gain and lowest possible noise when you set the gain at 252. Don't ask why, I have no clue. But all the literature talk about specifically setting it at 252 gives you the cleanest pictures. And I tried it on my big scope, trying to image Jupiter and Saturn and nebula and other targets, and sure enough, 252, if I go above it or below it, things get worse quickly. Now I set the gain at 585 and I adjust the exposure accordingly. I do set a much higher gain if I'm going after inanimate objects like the International Space Station, or if I'm trying to play it solve and I need the gain. But other than that, imaging the heavens, I stick with 252. Now Grumpy is doing what Grumpy does best. Actually, this is happy, not grumpy, and it's being happy. What are you using for a guide cam? The 120? Ah, okay. Looks like our webcast is in direct competition with two events happening now. One is a SpaceX launch of uh, a rocket with something on it, and Monday Night Football, the Vikings against the Bears. Yeah, SpaceX, they're going to start coverage in just under an hour. The Nusantara Lima mission. Genie, I have not succeeded in recording transits, lunar transits with the Seestar. What I've gotten were pure accidents, usually planes transiting. One time I was imaging the moon in the afternoon, and I accidentally imaged an awful lot of satellites in broad daylight, streaming in every direction. The sun was hitting them just at the right angle so we could see satellites during daytime. Let me see if I can find that video. I did process it and post it because it perplexed me for the longest time trying to find out what these were. Oh yeah. I have 32 seconds worth. Let me pause it here. Share. Get me a link. Okay, thanks, Otto. If you have time and you want to watch it, it's all of 32 seconds worth of tiny white dots going all over the place. The ASI-585MC Air is on back order because they're unable to build them fast enough. I'd like to hear from you how well it works. With 256 gig storage. See you back, Jeannie. Yes, I'm familiar with the ASI Air commonality to Seestar. Seestar contains an ASI Air for all intents and purposes. Now, are you able to see the heart yet on the Dwarf 3? It's 9 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Pompey Observatory. We are streaming live in 4K resolution from 2 telescopes. Dwarf 3 is imaging the Heart Nebula, IC 1805. And Seestar is looking at the moon in all its glory. Wow. And this is the Enos crater. Sorry, the Ina. Thinking marathons. Enos, Montana is where I ran my highest altitude marathon. This is the Ina crater. Both telescopes are at alt-az mode, yes. When they're sitting at the edge of the window, that's the only way I can set them up. Otherwise, the window is too close. The sad thing about the moon rising at exactly the east means that the tilt of the Earth is such that winter is not too far. This is the incredible detail that we are getting. Now does this let us look at 4K? No, it does not, only for astro mode, okay. What's depressing, Otto? It's a trade-off. I can go equatorial mode, but I have to be about 16 feet lower, which brings the trees into consideration, and then I do not see the moon for about half an hour later than I would from upstairs. It's a trade-off. Yes, Jeannie, it has been an interesting early mornings for the past couple weeks with Orion up, and we still have Jupiter and Venus. Beyond that, Sirius is visible now at sunrise, and Procyon is visible. So if you look at the sky, you will see Capella, Jupiter, Procyon, Sirius, and Venus. In addition to that, you have Betelgeuse and Rigel, all of them very, very bright. So if you look carefully, Procyon, Jupiter, and Capella are in a straight line. And right next to Jupiter, you have Pollux and Castor. They've been following Jupiter for a while now. Regulus rises a little bit after Venus, and it is halfway between Venus and Mercury. So the morning sky is fairly busy. And you know what happens out in the country when there is a full moon? The coyotes are out and they are, whatever sounds they make, squealing, wailing. And the dogs inside don't like that for some reason. I'd like to sit on the Heart Nebula for about an hour and then repeat the process with the Soul Nebula. So we will have captured the heart and the soul. So we are at 25 minutes, 100 frames at 4 frames per minute. So we're going to double that. We're going to get to about 200 stacked frames and then wrap up the Heart Nebula and then move on to the Soul, which is not too far. Good evening, Raider. Just to update those who joined us recently on the plans for tonight. Some of us ran a marathon yesterday and are tired, but would not miss out a chance to look at the moon. In the meantime, DWARF 3 is looking at two targets, the Heart Nebula and then the Soul Nebula. So we're very likely to wrap up the evening somewhere around 11, maybe just a few minutes before 11, and try to get the recovery underway. How did Saturn come out? Did you stack it or just live stream? Very good. Saturn is not too far from the moon right now. It's about 5 degrees off. Tater, I have not yet. I was busy running a marathon. We'll try to do that for the heart. Let me see if it'll let me create an account on another machine and then log on to it here. Stand by. This is funny. I logged on and it said my nickname is LGNVV7T06U. It turns out we have an account. I just logged in and it had no problem letting me log in. I did not run this one yesterday. I actually alternated walking with running because I refrained after my head injury 2 weeks ago, and the CAT scan, I refrained from calling my doctor to get permission to run the marathon. I figured it's easier not to know if the answer is yes or no, but just sent her a picture of me crossing the finish line afterwards, which I've done before. But since they have a 6-hour time limit, I tried to finish it as close to 6 hours as possible, so it would still count and not get disqualified. And thanks, Raider. So we have a pretty good picture of the Heart Nebula that we will process, or at least try to process. I want to give it another 50 or 60 frames. Excuse me for a moment, I want to go see what the problem is with the dog. I'm back. One dog was sleeping on the other dog's pillow. So we brought harmony and peace by getting an extra pillow, so each of them had one. Now one of them will probably steal both, and then we'll be back to where we were. In the meantime, in 10 minutes, we're going to pull a small screen in the corner of the SpaceX launch for those who want to watch it. The 4K on Seestar is not on for the moon. At least I don't think it's on. I don't know if RAW will allow us, because right here we don't have the option. And if we went with RAW, it's not giving us the option either. I think that's what it is intended for. The drizzling or dithering that it does is intended for deep sky objects only. The moon is a lot brighter than anything else in the deep sky. Let me just look at the detail. That we're getting here. Oh, hey, wait for me. This is incredible detail, including the colors in there. Go back. Right now, if you pay close attention to the moon, you will see the browns and the blues. It is not a grayscale image by any means. Radar, you have the entire galaxy season that is starting. And by the time we get to the March time frame, we should be able to image the entirety of the Messier Marathon in one night. If you start just after sunset, catching them in the west, and then work your way east, I have been able to get 80 or 90 of them easily without sweating the last few. Let me see if I can get you a link. Hello, Astro Delhi. Astro, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We try to go live whenever the skies permit with multiple telescopes. And if you guys at any time in Delhi there are targets that you cannot see but that we can see and you want us to image them for you, you can just let me know. Post a comment or send a message. Reader, this is the order of targets, starting with M77, and you can go down. Pretty much the tricky one is going to be the last 2 or 3, because it'll be dawn and the sun about to rise, and plate solving is not gonna work for you anymore. So that's when DWARF 2 would be the ideal telescope, because it'll go to the target without trying to find it, and then there you'll see it. Or if you're using DWARF 3 and you send it to the target, as soon as it says it's close enough, just abort the rest of the travel. If you choose to use Seestar, then be prepared to click cancel after every target. As soon as it says it is within 0.1 degree, I click cancel and start stacking. We are in the United States in the Eastern time zone. It is 9:33 right now here, so we are 12.5 hours ahead, or 10.5 hours behind. Yeah, tonight we're looking at IC 1805, the Heart Nebula, and then we're going to look at the Sol Nebula. And somebody just transited the moon. Doesn't seem to be too far out there. It's very closer. The Horsehead is in our hemisphere, radar. You have to get up early in the morning. Let me show you where the Horsehead is right now. I already imaged it this month. It rises at 1:39 a.m. So by 2:30 it'll be high enough to image. You have no excuse. You have a good 3 hours to image it. The Horsehead Nebula is just below Al-Nitaq in Orion, and it is visible, as I said, rises at 1:30, and you can start imaging at 2:30. Thanks for joining us, Astro Delhi. Due east. Radar, it is actually, yeah, due east. By 2:30 tomorrow morning, it'll be at 100 degrees azimuth. Which is why I have the big advantage here by putting the telescopes up at the windowsill I have clear view of the east all the way down to 2 degrees. So anything, as soon as something rises above 2 degrees in altitude, I get it. Astro Delhi, if you are anywhere near Delhi, then you definitely know what light pollution is. We are fortunate here. I live outside of light pollution, live out in the country in Bortle 4. And we had planned to get to about 180 frames. We are at 194. Let's see if we can convince it to do the processing. Later, we're going to try it. The tree pollution, I fixed some of that with a Ryobi 14-inch chainsaw. Big question here, why is this one lighting up a light for me? We'll come back to it. Stellar Studio. Log in. This is funny. I just logged in on another machine and had no problem. Hello, Jacob. We're trying to let DWARF auto-process the image of the Heart Nebula IC 1805. Auto, yes, I've gotten the blue horse head in the past. That's a good one, Jacob. Raider, have you considered rotating or turning around your driveway so you can see the north? So this is what we got. Looks good. Actually looks very nice. Compared to that. So this is original, after. Original, after. Let's go bigger. We said let's go bigger. Okay, never mind. So this is the difference between the two. Let's say that in this case the results were good as opposed to weird. We're going to go and get the Sol Nebula next. But I want to see what this is. You're kidding me. No, we're not doing firmware upgrade tonight. What is this? Okay. This is a weird thing because I logged on only a few minutes ago. I don't know if they're compiling statistics of how many men versus women are using their telescopes. Let's go back home. Photo. Looks like the SpaceX launch has been postponed till tomorrow. Skip and stop. We don't need this. Atlas. Dean, that's why I'm taking a chance with the moon out there I'm trying to aim as far north as I can. Why is this gray? Jacob, you saw the setup in Oswego. There is a maple tree to the southwest of the observatory, and it has grown a lot, making it impossible for me to catch I3 Atlas with the 16-inch telescope. If we had any hope of getting to that interstellar comet, it would have been the 16-inch. But I cannot with that big tree. And they don't seem to be convincible yet to let me prune it or trim it or whatever. Yeah. You know about campus politics. There is the tension between the physics department and the biology department. Hello, Matthew. I don't know if we're going to still have that comet when the leaves fall off, but yes. Matthew, we just finished imaging the Heart Nebula, and now we're looking at the Sol Nebula. We used the Stellar Studio to process it, and it looked nice. Let's see if the Sol is going to look equally nice. Matthew, my big frustration with DWARF Lab, and I've spoken with Arya, and I spoke with Sue at length. Not long ago, we were able to image the Messier Marathon in its entirety in one night using DWARF 2. Now, when you go to a target, all that initialization and pre-processing and calibration that you have to go through every single time, and then the post-processing, we're spending 2 or 3 minutes of overhead per target, which all but eliminates any chance of pulling a Messier Marathon in one night. And all we're saying is, give us back the option of skipping these. Once I have my telescope calibrated, I don't want to recalibrate on every target. I just want to move. And I don't want to initialize on every target, and I don't want to post-process on every target. I just want to stack 10 frames and move on. End of rant. When you talk about the new user interface, the only thing I can think of is what are they going to break this time? Well, I remember the user interface for DWARF 2 and the quantum leap, very good leap to the DWARF 3. We have something that works now and it does the job. And for the most part, I don't have to guess where things might be hidden. You going to Texas again? Is that what you mean, West? Dallas they are, and DWARF 3 is incredibly uniquely suited. It has the field of view to fit them nicely, plus it has the dual band filter to show them well. Yeah, Seestar would not do as well, would not do justice to either heart or soul. No more than it would for America, North America Nebula, or California, or the Veils. Okitex. Yep, I know what it is. For the next 3 months, September, October, November, I'm grounded here. It's marathon season after 2 years of injuries. Yep. Matthew, I ran the Sackets Harbor Marathon yesterday. And it felt good crossing that finish line. It felt good. So in 2 weeks I have the Trumptown Marathon, and then in October the Great Empire State Marathon in Syracuse, and then November the Harrisburg Marathon. And notice how there is a boat that goes back and forth. The course was particularly nice because we started at lake level, not sea level, and gradually went from 270 feet and climbed gradually to 470 feet at the turnaround. So it was very gradual, 200 feet of gain, and then turned around and then essentially downhill all the way back. And I was amazed by the level of support that they got from the police, from the state troopers. We did not see any cars except for one irate truck driver whose wife was probably running in the race. But other than that, we did not see cars at all the entire way. We had the width of the road the entire way. And they did something very smart. They invited the local high schools to have their athletic teams compete as to who can have the most spirited water station. And they awarded monetary prizes, $500 for the top 2 water stations to the teams. So we had every high school track team and lacrosse team and soccer team and you name it, each of them manning or staffing, whatever the term is, a water station, and they were good. No grumpy volunteers, just young kids anxious to watch the rest of us suffer. Your half marathon, Matthew, is not till January, correct? You're doing the Disney? There were 2 other things that set Sackett's Harbor aside. It's close to Canada, so we had a large Canadian contingent, folks who crossed the border to run it. So at the start, they sang the Canadian national anthem, and then we sang the Star Spangled Banner, and that was very, very nice. They had the Canadian flag, and it was good. And the second thing, Sackett's Harbor is very close to Fort Drum, which is the 10th Mountain Division Army. And there was a very large contingent of young, fit men and women running it. I may have mentioned to you that I ran the Town of Celebration Marathon, which is close to Orlando. Flew into Orlando, and then it was a few miles away. It was much smaller. It is in January also, I believe. Yeah, the marathon starts and ends in downtown in the shopping center or the commercial district, whatever it is. When I used to work, I used to travel a lot. And whenever I accumulated enough frequent flyer miles, I found a marathon that my miles will get me to for free. Always had the hotel points. That was not the problem. It was finding the airline miles. And that's how I did the majority of my marathons. Free points, free miles. Through work, during the peak of my travel, I achieved platinum status with both Delta and United and both Marriott and Holiday Inn, IHG. Seoul is not looking as pretty or as defined as Heart, but we're going to give it 180 or so frames stacked and then process it. I've been trying to refocus the moon every hour or so and see how this number changes. So let's see. We're at 1693. We were at 1693, 1675. It was at 18 something when the evening started. So as the moon rises, the focusing is changing on us. Mentioned earlier that I was amazed how the Ina crater appears clearly. I captured raw data which I plan to stack and see how much resolution we can get on that crater. There it is. Looks a little bit like the Running Man Nebula. And here the moon is drifting on us. So we get our free flyover here. Let's see if we can do that again. Come back. Doesn't want to move as fast. Okay, no joy. So they stopped the countdown for the Musandra Lima mission at T-minus 48 minutes and 22 seconds. Unable to find detail as to why at this point. Talking about SpaceX, is supposed to launch a load to the moon. All right. Due to unfavorable weather conditions at the launch site, we are now targeting Tuesday, September 9 for the launch of the Musandra Lima mission from Florida. That's as good an explanation as we can have. Matthew, can you confirm that the weather is bad? AccuWeather, Florida. Oh yeah. Thunderstorms all over. Display primary monitor. That's what we're looking at in Florida. We were talking about the Horsehead Nebula. That's early morning target for you. This is surprising that Seestar said that it's cold. Battery stopped charging because of cold. We're 50 degrees. What is that work thing that many of you guys mentioned? Speaking of rubbing it in. Last week there was a concerted effort to get me back to work. Several high-ranking people flew in from Dayton and Atlanta and Boston. And we had a very nice discussion, nice breakfast, nice lunch, and goodbye. I think Facebook has a thumbs down button, but YouTube does not. Or do they? Whatever. One or the other does. That's right, YouTube does. So is Seestar going to be our preferred instrument for a Messier marathon this winter? I was ambushed very nicely. I was supposed to be having breakfast with two of my former colleagues. Got to the restaurant and asked for a table for three. And before I knew it, there were 12 people sitting at our table. Table just kept growing and people just kept showing up and shaking hands and hugging because they had not seen each other in forever. But at the end of the day, here I am. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is the Pompey Observatory station identification. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We are looking at the Sol Nebula on Dwarf 3 using the dual mode filter and looking at the moon with Seestar. And if you're going to tell which is which, Dwarf is on the right and Seestar is on the left. So we're halfway on the desired stack for the Sol Nebula. And I have a new coaster to put my coffee cup on. In the grand scheme of things, away from the moon, I have Messier objects M2, M15, M31, 33, 34. I'm going to see how fast Seestar is willing to jump all over them. I have M30 as well. Okay, bear with me. Come on, what are we doing? Okay, we're going to go to M30 first. No. It's going in the wrong direction. I don't have to bother with the wires being looped around. This is strange. Could have gotten to it from the moon in no time. All right. Can you find M31? Okay. This is taking too long. All right, it's found it. It's the identifying part that I'd like to be able to skip, because we will not be able to identify Matthew, why is it showing me equatorial in red, even though we are in Alt-Az mode? Ah, never mind. Never mind. That is the grid that it is displaying. Okay, never mind. So it's sounding like Seestar is going to be a lot more efficient. We click on capture. We'll have to skip that one. Yep, I found it. Thank you. We're going to have to skip the image enhancing and the initialization if it lets us do that. I'm not using the drizzle. I used it last week. Right now I'm trying to see if Seestar will let us do a Messier marathon. By combining it with Kai's software, the Seestar Alp, we should be able to automate the list. I should be able to give it the entire catalog and have it go through it. But I'm trying to cut back on the overhead. Okay, we have it here. Let me stop you. Wi-Fi firmware volume focus. Okay. Anti-do image watermark indicators advanced feature. I don't have enhancement. Live, no. We are skipping that. Image calibration. Alright, so it's doing the hot pixel correction. For the Messier marathon, looking at March time frame, usually first week of April. I have not tried it in October. Yeah, it's not giving me option here of skipping things. So if we are here, and we're trying to go to a target, I can cancel it as long as it tells me it is within 0.1, which is fine. "4K, full screen mode, tutorial, share." I don't need any of these. Yeah, it's not giving me the option of skipping all the useful stuff. You mean by aborting it finding it's okay? So you are saying if I go to M33 or whatever, so how do I skip initialization here? Oh, okay. All right, we're good. Matthew, are you talking about dwarf data or Seestar data? Tell me what targets you want done each month and we'll gladly upload data. And there is Saturn. We're not in planet mode. Genie, there is Saturn on Seestar. That's not bad. S50 Bubble Nebula. Where is Bubble right now? Doable. Okay, Bubble is in a very good place. Stop it. Dark Shark is going to require equatorial mode, that's for sure. Let me see where's the best place to set up D3 in equatorial mode and get Shark. Did you say you wanted 1 hour stacked per target? And do you have any desired settings? Do you want both in equatorial mode, S50 as well as moonless night? Okay, call me in 2 weeks. Okay, next stop here is going to be Neptune. Since it's not too far. No, we're not gonna do anything more tonight. I am fading rapidly. Remember, less than 24 hours ago, I put 54,000 steps on my shoes. All right, if you're at 0.1 degree, cancel it and show me. Uh-oh. I have no idea what this is. There's absolutely nothing in its way. Seems to be having trouble finding Neptune because of the moon is near Neptune. So any attempt to plate solve is gonna fail. We are at 45 minutes stacked with Sol. That was good. We're going to do the autofocus one more time. 1676. 1685. Okay. Enhance. Hello, Bill. We looked earlier at the Heart Nebula on Dwarf 3. Now we are post-processing the Soul Nebula. And should be able to show you the before and after pictures in both cases. And on Seestar, we're looking at the moon. To my surprise, the moon is clear enough tonight to actually show us the Ina crater. Home of the Blue Lake. And Bill, you did not get to see this, so I shall show it to you, since I showed it to everybody many times. I ran a marathon yesterday. Because I made sure not to ask my doctor if it's okay to run after my head injury. Okay, this is the before and this is the after. So Soul looks good. Let's see if I can show you the heart as well. Yeah, this is the Heart Nebula before and after. So the plan for tonight was to do the Heart Nebula, the Soul Nebula, the Moon, and get back to my trilogy of drink, eat, and sleep to recover, since the marathon was yesterday. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wish you a good rest of the evening. I'm going to wrap things down, put things away, and get back to recovery. Tomorrow night should be clear skies, so I plan to go live again tomorrow night, weather permitting. So we'll see you then.